Bleacher Report recently came out with a video that talks about players on the New York Knicks who need to be better in 2024, and we have to talk about it because they are not exactly incorrect. So let's jump right into it, guys. What's up? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we are not wasting any time today. Let's just go right into things. RJ Barrett is the first person on this list, and what Bleacher Report had to say is that when he started the season, everything clicked during that hot start, which even though it only spanned 7 games, was very encouraging. He averaged 22.5 points on 48, 50, 84.4 splits, adding 3 assists and only 2 turnovers. Over the next 14 games, he was putting up 17 points, 39, 25, 85 splits, along with 2.2 assists and only 1 point for turnovers. As they say, during that hot early run, he was a legitimate difference maker. Only once in that 7-game stretch did he have a negative plus-minus. Since cooling off, though, he's only managed 3 positive marks over his last 14 outings. It's not like the Knicks have been bad in those 14 outings. RJ essentially had a migraine, and he missed some time. And when he came back, he didn't fully look right. And now he looks healthy, but he can't seem to figure out his role. Part of that is Julius Randle has gotten healthy and has gotten better. Jalen Brunson has figured it out more, and RJ is getting less touches because they figured out a way to win while he was injured, or will just out and not playing because of the migraine. But RJ's consistently had this issue where when he comes back from injuries, he struggles to find his groove again for a little bit. It's kind of peculiar why, though. If you are RJ Barrett, a guy who is really best at scoring the basketball on the inside, it's not the easiest thing to do when Randall and Brunson also take a lot of shots and you have inside centers. You don't have the best court spacing in the world. So I do think that's part of the reason why. And I have kind of felt for a while like RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson is not the most fluid meshing of players. So I think RJ, if he was on a different team, his numbers would look more consistently better. And we're going to see how that goes in the future. But let's just take a look at his numbers right now. Oops, they just went away, and here they are. For this season, RJ's averaging 18.5 points per game. He's shooting 34% from 3 on the year and 43% from the field. The numbers look remarkably similar to the year prior, albeit a little bit better. And the free throw shooting has taken a major leap, which is very promising. Usually you don't take a free throw leap that big, which has shown that RJ Barrett is getting better, but it is the problem of the touches. However, his defense has been rock solid ever since he's been here. Like this entire season, he's been playing great defense. He's always really been a good defender. It's just been a question on I don't even want to say his effort. It's just his usage on offense was making his defense worse for a little bit. Grimes came in. RJ had less defensive pressure. And now RJ's been a tremendous defender, especially against great players like Jason Tatum. So I think with RJ, it's just one of those things where there's not the most touches in the world. I don't think this is the best fit for RJ at this point. I'm not saying the Knicks should rush to trade him or anything, but if the Knicks were to trade for a great player, I think RJ should be probably the main piece of that deal just because I want to see the man succeed. And it's not that he's never going to succeed with the Knicks. I don't believe that, but I think he would have an easier path to success on many, many other teams. So hopefully something happens, whether it's a trade or just a personnel change in some sort or just some sort of coaching change where we get to see more out of RJ Barrett because he's definitely better than the numbers show. And I'm rooting for RJ no matter what happens. Always going to stand RJ Barrett. His jersey's actually hanging up right behind me right over here. It's hard to see in this lighting, I know. But huge fan of RJ. Hopefully things turn out. However, we move on. We have more to talk about. The next guy is Quentin Grimes. And essentially what they had to say was there haven't been enough minutes and shots to go around for everyone this season, and Quentin Grimes has felt that more than anyone. His floor time is way down from 30 minutes per game to 22 minutes per game. His field goal percentage has went from 47 to 38.5. He says that's no coincidence, and as Bleacher Report alludes to, he may be right, at least in the sense that it's hard to find a rhythm when you don't have consistency in your role or opportunities. Grimes has shown some improvement since going to the bench because he feels more allowed to miss a shot and knock him out of the game, and he's one of the leading scorers on the bench. But it's a similar thing to RJ Barrett, where Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are score-first players, and recently, especially in the month of December, they've both been averaging over 25 points per game. They are really great players, and they are amounting to a lot of the shots for this team because the way that the Knicks play, and I'm not saying this is wrong, I'm saying this is a fact on how the Knicks play offense. They play an offense where the best players are just going to ISO a lot, and that's how Tibbs runs an offense. He doesn't exactly run one. He just lets the best players isolate as much as they want to, and they live and die by it, and that is what's happening to the Knicks. That makes Quentin Grimes' life more difficult on offense. It's going to make RJ's life more difficult. It's going to make everyone outside of Brunson and Randall's life more difficult. However, it's hard to argue with success, as you're about to see on the screen below. The New York Knicks are 16-11 on the year, so clearly something's been going right through the 5th seed. It kind of feels like if they matched up with the Magic, they'd probably win that series in the playoffs, even without Mitchell Robinson. But who knows? Maybe it is a problem, and I don't know. It's tough to say right now. Basically, I'm rooting for Grimes also, and I do think Grimes will be here for the long run. He really does feel like a seamless fit next to Jalen Brunson. However, Dante DiVincenzo has been balling as the starting shooting guard on the team, so who knows. I think also Grimes is someone who we could see be put on the trading block. I think all of Grimes, Barrett, and Quickly, none of them are untouchable, and it felt like not too long ago, all of them were untouchable. However, we move on because we also have a little bit more to talk about, and that is the final guy, and that is, well, first of all, I actually want to show you guys something with Quentin Grimes with his stats before we go into our final guy, which is Grimes' stats are just way down across the board. If you just look, I mean, 6.6 points per game, which is higher than his rookie year, but he hardly played in his rookie year. As you can see, it's the least minutes of his career. His field goal percentage is sub 40. His three-point percentage is 36.7%, which is the worst of his career, which is a bummer. This was a season where he was supposed to surmount 40% from three, though his shooting has gotten better as the season's gone along because his opportunities have come more on the bench. But that's not all. There's also just another graphic I want to show you when it comes to Grimes' shooting. One of the problems is, and it shows that he's not really getting his opportunities, is if you look at his field goal percentage by distance, since his rookie year, where, again, all he was just a pure spot-up shooter, and he didn't play enough minutes, and he probably didn't have the confidence because he came in the middle of the season, he is shooting 77% of his shots from three. Outside of that, by far the only number that even counts, really, is within 0 to 3 feet from the hoop, so layups, and that is at nearly 15%. Basically, if Grimes isn't shooting a three, he's shooting a layup. He's not going to shoot mid-range shots. He hardly does. And if you look at his field goal percentage by distance, one of them is exactly 50%, which means he's taken, at most 8 shots from there. And then 10 to 16%, where he has not made a single shot all season, and he clearly has not shot many. As you look, only 6% of his shots come from there. And it's just not great the way you want to see touches go, that it shows how ball dominant some of the Knicks are. And if you look at his corner threes, he's shooting the most corner threes of his career, but he's at the lowest of his career where he's only shooting 40% from the corner, as opposed to last season where he was shooting 47.5%, which is an awesome mark. So that's not great. Hopefully, as I said, Grimes can bounce back, but now we actually are moving on to the final guy we are talking about, and that is Mr. Josh Hart. Hart's had a weird season because he's been playing power forward, which we know, and as Tibbs has alluded to, that might not be the only new position that he is playing. But here's what Bleacher Report had to say. The 6'4" swingman is still putting his fingerprints all over the stat sheet, but his contributions are not as pronounced nor as efficient. His impact doesn't always show up in the box score, so keep that in mind. But they did appear more frequently last season. In his 25 games after the deadline deal, he averaged 10 points on 58, 52, 79% splits, which is absolutely insane. And then he was also getting 7 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.4 steals. And this season, he's down to 7.7 points. He's only shooting 34% from 3 and 73% from the line on 46% shooting from the field, with 5.6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a little under 1 steal per game. So certainly we have seen the man's numbers go down. Not totally Josh Hart's fault. Again, he's in a different position where he's playing power forward now, and that is an adjustment because he's going to have to guard bigger guys and be on different spots of the court sometimes. And apparently, Tibbs has alluded to the fact that Josh Hart could play center in some lineups, which is absolutely insane, and I'm very opposed to. I'd rather them just even pick up a center in free agency. But if we look right here, Knicks memes made a joke. I'm going to get eviscerated for this, but I think this is from Star Wars. The clip is saying, yeah, I know who he is. He's me, or something like that. Again, I never watched Star Wars or any of that stuff, so I'm probably going to get eviscerated for that by someone in the comments. Sorry if I disappointed you. But as Josh Hart said when he was asked about, or when Knicks meme said Josh Hart, when you ask him who he knows who the new center is, it's like, of course I know him. He's me. And Josh Hart said, no the hell I ain't. I'm a guard. Are you? Not sure about that one, Josh. Tom Thibodeau says everything's on the table for the Knicks rotations, including going centerless Tibbs also says that Julius Randle and Josh Hart could be in the role of the third Knicks center. Obviously, that would be a problem, and that would not help Josh Hart bounce back. Really, I'm not going to blame Tibbs for these situations where these players are playing worse, but it's also partially to do with this freelance offense that benefits Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle calling as many ISOs as they want, and right now it's sort of working, so it's hard to blame exactly. Sorry, I got distracted because I just saw that the Pistons have lost 24 straight games, that's just absurd. I don't even know how you do that. That's just absolutely absurd. But really, the Knicks, I don't know. Maybe some trades will happen or something. But as of right now, where they stand, RJ Barrett is just always going to be this team's third option, and I don't think he really likes being a third option, and I don't think it really works for his style of play, especially when Julius attacks the paint so heavily as the Knicks' second option, sort of a hybrid first option with Brunson, because they kind of switch off every night, or sometimes they just both play well, but it's rare to see the entire of the Knicks' big three play well, and I think that's because the fit is not great. They don't fit very well together. They fit sort of like a glove on a foot, and some change is going to have to happen. And then with Grimes and Josh Hart, I think that's more just a current personnel thing more than anything. The Knicks have a lot of guards, not a lot of forwards, so Josh Hart's taking over that forward spot, and Quentin Grimes is losing his minutes to guys like DiVincenzo and Emmanuel quickly. However, the Knicks will probably look a little different by next season, so this might be a one-off thing, or this is just the new version of these players, and I don't really believe that to be true at all. Barrett and Grimes are too young to not improve more. I genuinely believe they will, and that everything will be okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. Sorry if I seem low energy. I'm about to go on vacation, and I am filming a ton of videos right now. Not sure when this one will come out, so happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Have a great day, guys. Comment below what you think, and go Knicks.